The mysterious arrival of a glowing spacecraft in the serene fields of a Kansas farm at dusk, setting the stage for an extraordinary story. The planet Krypton was on the brink of collapse. Deep within its crystalline caves, Jor-El, the great scientist, foresaw the impending destruction of his world. Despite his warnings to the Kryptonian Council, none would listen. With a heavy heart, he set in motion the only plan he could, the preservation of his newborn son, Kal-El. Jor-El and his wife Lara crafted a small spacecraft, embedding within it the essence of Krypton's hopes, dreams, and knowledge. As the planet began to crumble, they placed their infant son in the ship and launched it toward a distant, unknown world, Earth. And so began the legend of Superman, a story of hope, power, and humanity. The small spacecraft carrying Kal-El descended toward Earth, crashing in the wheat fields of Smallville, Kansas. It was here that Jonathan and Martha Kent discovered the child amidst the wreckage. The couple, unable to have children of their own, took him in as their own and named him Clark. Little did they know, this baby boy was destined for greatness. Clark grew up like any other child, but soon it became clear he was anything but ordinary. By the age of 5, he could lift a tractor with ease. As a teenager, he outran speeding trains and discovered his ability to fly. With each passing year, his powers grew, but so did his desire to remain normal. A young boy discovers his incredible strength by lifting a heavy object in the peaceful farmlands of Kansas, while two figures watch in awe from a distance. Jonathan and Martha, always the wise and caring parents, instilled in Clark the values of kindness, humility, and responsibility. They taught him that his powers were a gift, meant to help people, not dominate them. Clark knew he had a responsibility to the world, but for a long time, he grappled with what that meant. Chapter 2, Metropolis. After graduating from high school, Clark left Smallville and moved to Metropolis, one of the largest and most dynamic cities in the world. Here, he hoped to blend in with the crowd, hiding his extraordinary abilities while living as a regular person. To do so, he took on the role of mild-mannered reporter at the Daily Planet, where he met the bold and ambitious Lois Lane. Lois, a star journalist, was determined to uncover the truth about the mysterious superhero sightings around the city. Metropolis had recently been under siege by crime, corruption, and new, dangerous villains. Word had spread of a caped figure saving lives, but no one knew who or what this figure was. Clark, always careful to remain anonymous during his heroic acts, couldn't help but be amused by Lois's tenacity. But despite his efforts to live a quiet life, Clark couldn't stand by and watch injustice unfold. Every time disaster struck, whether it was a runaway train, a burning building, or a villain threatening innocent lives, Clark would shed his reporter persona and become Superman. A hero soars above the bustling city of Metropolis, cape flowing in the wind, as people look up in awe, capturing a moment of courage and hope. Chapter 3, Lex Luthor. Among the powerful figures in Metropolis, one stood out more than any other, Lex Luthor. A billionaire industrialist, genius inventor, and philanthropist by day, Luthor harbored darker ambitions beneath the surface. He saw Superman as a threat to humanity's autonomy, believing that no man, no matter how powerful, should have that much influence. Luthor's obsession with bringing down Superman consumed him. He used his vast resources to conduct experiments and fund covert operations aimed at discovering Superman's weaknesses. And after years of research, he uncovered a secret: kryptonite, the only known substance capable of weakening and killing Superman. With kryptonite in his possession, Luthor orchestrated his first major strike. He lured Superman into a carefully planned trap, using the lives of innocent civilians to force the hero into a showdown. As Superman rushed to save them, Luthor unleashed his kryptonite weapon. For the first time in his life, Clark felt vulnerable. The kryptonite sapped his strength, rendering him powerless as Luthor taunted him, confident in his victory. But even weakened, Superman's resolve remained unbroken. He fought through the pain, managing to outwit Luthor's men and disable the kryptonite device. With sheer willpower, he saved the civilians and escaped, though not without serious injury. Though Superman had survived, it was a sobering moment. He realized that his enemies were becoming more dangerous and that his presence in Metropolis had drawn powerful forces that sought to exploit his weaknesses. Luthor, however, was only beginning his war against the Man of Steel. Chapter 4, Love and Identity. As Clark continued his dual life, his relationship with Lois deepened. She was fearless, driven, and unwavering in her pursuit of truth and justice, qualities Clark admired. Despite her hardened exterior, Lois had a soft spot for the people she cared about, and she soon found herself drawn to the mysterious Superman, unaware that he was the same man sitting just a few desks away in the newsroom. Clark struggled with his secret. He longed to share the truth with Lois, but he feared that doing so would put her in danger. And so, he kept his two identities separate, playing the role of Clark Kent while Lois grew increasingly intrigued by Superman. A powerful figure faces a kryptonite-powered machine in a futuristic lab, surrounded by glowing lights and advanced technology, as the tension and danger rise in this pivotal confrontation. One evening, during a quiet moment on the rooftop of the Daily Planet, Clark finally made the decision to tell Lois the truth. She had been chasing leads on Superman for months, and he could no longer bear to keep her in the dark. With a deep breath, he removed his glasses, revealing his true self to her. At first, Lois was shocked, but as the realization sank in, her shock turned to anger. She felt betrayed, hurt that Clark had hidden something so monumental from her. But as he explained his reasons, the danger, the responsibility, the need to protect her, she began to understand. Slowly, the anger melted away, replaced by admiration and love. From that moment on, Lois became Clark's greatest ally, helping him balance his responsibilities as both Superman and a human being. Together, they navigated the challenges that came with his powers, always supporting each other no matter the dangers ahead. Chapter 5: The Battle for Metropolis. As time passed, the threats to Metropolis escalated. New villains emerged, each more dangerous than the last. But none posed a greater threat than Lex Luthor, whose obsession with defeating Superman had reached new heights. Luthor had formed an alliance with several other powerful villains, including the cunning Brainiac and the ruthless General Zod, a fellow Kryptonian with his own dark agenda. Luthor's plan was to destroy Superman once and for all. He unleashed chaos on Metropolis, coordinating attacks that stretched Superman to his limits. Buildings crumbled, lives were lost, and the city was on the brink of collapse. Superman fought valiantly, but he was only one man, and his enemies were many. In the final showdown, Luthor revealed his ultimate weapon, a massive kryptonite-powered machine designed to drain Superman's strength and destroy him. The battle was fierce, with Superman using every ounce of his power to stop the machine while also protecting the people of Metropolis. As the machine hummed to life, emitting waves of kryptonite radiation, Superman felt his strength ebbing away. But in the darkest moment, he remembered the words of his father, Jor-El, "You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive toward. They will stumble, they will fall, but in time, they will join you in the sun." Drawing on the last of his strength, Superman pushed through the pain and surged toward the machine, using his heat vision to overload its circuits. The machine exploded in a brilliant flash of light, its kryptonite core vaporized in the blast. But the effort had drained Superman completely. He collapsed, weakened and vulnerable. It was then that the people of Metropolis rose up. Inspired by Superman's selflessness, they banded together to defeat Luthor's remaining forces. They protected their city, proving that even without Superman, they had the power to stand against evil. Lois rushed to Superman's side as the dust settled. He was weak, but alive, and as he looked around at the city he had fought so hard to protect, he knew that his mission had succeeded. He had given the people of Earth the strength to fight for themselves. Chapter 6: A New Dawn. In the aftermath of the battle, Metropolis began to rebuild. Lex Luthor, defeated and imprisoned, swore vengeance from his cell, but his influence had been broken, for now. The city had been saved, not just by Superman, but by its own people. Superman, now fully recovered, continued his mission to protect Earth. But he no longer did so alone. Lois stood by his side, and the people of Metropolis, inspired by his example, worked to make their city a better place. Clark knew that the challenges would continue, that new threats would emerge, but he also knew that as long as there was hope, there would be a way to overcome them. A peaceful and hopeful scene as the city of Metropolis rebuilds after a great battle, with citizens coming together to restore what was lost, symbolizing unity and resilience. Superman soared over the skyline of Metropolis, the sun setting behind him. He smiled, knowing that his journey was far from over, but also knowing that he was not just a hero of Krypton, but a hero of Earth, a symbol of hope, courage, and humanity. And so, the legend of Superman lived on, a story of an alien who became more human than anyone could have ever imagined. He was a protector, a savior, and above all, a beacon of hope for all who believed in the power of good.